And welcome back to Conversations with Cyrus Webb, where we bring you the best guests and the greatest conversations. I'm Cyrus Webb, and we're joined today by Kenny L. Mitchell. He's making his first appearance here on Conversations with Cyrus Webb to talk not only about his literary journey, but also about his series that is getting quite a bit of attention right now. Kenny, congratulations on the series, and thanks a lot for being on with us.
Thanks so very much.
Well, look, you know what's so great about this, Kenny, and I had the opportunity to interview you on the radio show with the very first book.
Yes.
We get to meet this woman in this series, a beautiful broken me, that I think really, for me, was so powerful. For one, because a man wrote it. And two, because it touched on a lot of things that we hear women talk about, men don't know about, don't care about. What was it like for you to bring Regina Washington's story to life? And to see the way people responded to her story?
It's a wonderful experience. The thing about men, I think, is that at a young age, we're not really taught to show or express our emotions. We're told to hold it in. A man doesn't cry. That's complete bull. We actually have to be taught. We actually need to know how to express ourselves in the correct way. Women, we always know what women are thinking because they're not afraid to put their emotions out there. I think it takes a certain amount of strength, vulnerability, and courage to actually put your feelings out there in the first place.
Right.
And as far as like expressing how a woman feels, I don't think it's so much how much a woman feels, but how we all feel. It's a human experience, not just a woman's experience. It just so happens to be taught. The subject happens to be taught from a woman's perspective,
right.
but it's told from a human experience, and I think it shows through on the page.
Yeah, you know, the series is called Loves Me Not, and I think what is interesting, the first book was powerful, and I remember, you know, when I interviewed you about it, you had mentioned, of course, the other books weren't out yet. Did you know automatically that Regina's story was not finished with Beautiful Broken Me, or how did it evolve that it became a trilogy?
What happened is initially when we had, I went to Cassandra Jackson of Freedom in Publishing, we talked to each other, and she said she was interested in print and publishing it. But when we, the format I used to type it up on, it was maybe like 300 to 400 pages. But when she used the printing font, it was like 700 plus pages. In the society we live in right now, everything's a microwavable society. People want things quick, fast, in a hurry. And unfortunately, a lot of people in our target audience doesn't want to sit down and read one mammoth novel at one time. Right. So what we decided to do is change it up a little bit and split it into a trilogy. And that actually has helped out so much more because Cassandra, in her wisdom, every book, at the end of every book, it tantalizes you just a little bit more. You're like, I want to know what happens next. And that's the good thing about it, is you want to leave your audience hungry for more. And even at the conclusion of Beautiful Broken Me, it leaves you with like so many questions that are not completely answered. So that leaves you room to grow and write a little bit more.
Right. So since you opened up that door, let's talk about writing. I mean, did you always know that you were a storyteller, or when did you first realize that storytelling was something that you wanted to do?
In my family, we've always used spoken narrative to get the point across and all. My uncles, my father, my mother, you know, even in the church we were raised in and everything, we always used, you know, stories, parables, just like Jesus did and everything, to get your point and everything across. I could tell you something, like some general information, and that's cool and everything and all, but if I tell you a story that illustrates that point and everything and all, it's something that you will not only remember, you'll pass it down to your family as well. That's what this country really was based on. If you think about history, our oral history, what we do and everything, we pass that history along, not only through the written pages, but through spoken word. That's the original storytelling format, was people sitting around fires, the caveman, Neanderthal, the Neolithic period, and we told stories to each other. Only later during the Egyptian times and everything and all, when papyrus paper was born and everything, did we put it on paper. And it's a wonderful communicative device. But at the end of the day, nothing would ever take away from the fact of telling a story. That's exactly what you and I are doing right now. We're sharing the experience and telling a story to each other. So after I leave from here today and all, you say, well, Kenny said this, and he used this as an example to get his point across.
Right, gotcha. And I think that's a good point. For those that are just tuning in to this edition, you're watching Conversations with Cyrus Webb. I'm joined by author Kenny L. Mitchell. We're talking to him about the Love Me Not series. It all begins with this book, Beautiful Broken Me. It does end with this book here. One that I think, and it's interesting, the title, based on what you just said,
yes.
Kenny, Miracles and Blessings is the title of the last book. The Purge, as you mentioned, is the second book. You know, it's a physical journey that Regina goes through.
It is.
It is an emotional journey that she goes on. But I think it also is a spiritual journey. And part of it deals with the idea of value, realizing your own value, and not letting someone, you know, regardless of what they have, tarnish that value.
Absolutely.
that is a lesson I think, as you said, men and women can both appreciate. But
Yes.
what was it like for you to see your character go through that and actually have to learn that the hard way?
I think some of the greatest stories that I ever told, whether they're dealing with Joan of Arc, any character, male or female, from the masculine or feminine, deals with taking a character who is in a situation of peril or some sort of desperation, and they go through a journey. It's going to be a physical journey, a spiritual one is the one I'm more interested in finding about, or a moralistic journey. And you have to go through the dark times. You have to go through being hungry. You have to go through periods of sacrifice before you actually evolve as a human being. Mm-hmm. Think about it. There's a point that Katara and I were talking about last night at the motel. Some people, let's say people play the lottery, and they say, I want money, I want money, I want money, I want success. And a lot of times people don't really realize what they actually want until they have it. So let's say if a person is not, if a person is not mentally prepared for something, once they get it, they lose it. So you have to struggle. It's important that you struggle. It's important that this book was written a while ago and everything and all. It's only now reaching its target audience now, because I think everything in life has a reason and it has a season. Right. Absolutely. And when you're in your season, absolutely nothing can stop you. You will reach it. I promise you, you will have adversity in this world, but once your season comes and God puts you in your proper season, absolutely nothing in this world can stop it from happening. And that's what happens with Regina's story.
Exactly. Totally agree with that. Again, everyone, author Kenny L. Mitchell is our guest. He's the author of the Loves Me Not trilogy. Kenny, let our listeners know and our viewers know how they can stay in contact with you, as well as how they can get their own copies of the book as well.
Definitely. You can reach me. My page is public. It's at Facebook. It's author Kenny L. Mitchell. It's also there's also a Loves Me Not page on Freedom Inc. You can reach us. You can buy copies of the book at www.freedominc365.com. You can buy them at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books of Me, anywhere fine books are sold. And you can get in contact with me at kmitch672004@yahoo.com. All this information is at our Facebook page, and we just want to say thank you so very much for this opportunity, because it is a blessing to have a format where young people, minorities, or anybody has an opportunity to express themselves and be heard. That truly is a miracle and a blessing.
I appreciate that. Again, Kenny, thank you so much for that. And thank you all for watching. Now, if you guys missed any of our past conversations, don't worry. You can always go to our website at www.conversationswithcyruswebb.com. That's www.conversationswithcyruswebb.com. Until then, I'm Cyrus Webb saying, as always, make it a great one.